Get ready for adventure with the Carroll County 2026 Agritourism Passport. From June through October, explore more than 25 local farms and agricultural events. Eat, play, learn, and support Carroll's agricultural community along the way. Pick up a passport at the Carroll County Visitor Center, or new this year, join the fun digitally through the Let's Rally app. Each stop you visit earns you entries to win exciting prizes. Learn more at carrollgrown.org/agritourism passport 2026.
Good morning. Welcome to the 2026 Carroll County 4-H and FFA Fair Heifer Show. This morning we're going to start with the Angus breed. We're here in the Shipley building at the Eddie Harrison Jr. Arena. This arena was donated in loving memory of Eddie Jr. and Janie Harrison. We start this show off with an Angus heifer with a birth date of January 29th, 2026. Our exhibitor is Grafton Condon.
Well, good morning. I guess it's getting lunchtime, but pleasure to be here in Maryland. Again, I judged 4 years ago down the road in Frederick, the great Frederick show, and the cattle over there. Got to sort them about 4 years ago. So it's nice. We're going to have fun today. I'm the type of judge that it's all for these kids, no matter what they're showing and what's underneath their halter. But I like it, and it's going to be good. And I give these kids a good, honest look and a fair look. And I just, they'll read my bio later on. They'll tell a little bit more about myself. But I do appreciate coming, and I appreciate agriculture. I appreciate kids that are in agriculture. And so what a great day to start off with this young Angus heifer, young man. That's her first outing, and she's a January born. And I look at cattle, and I raise cattle myself, and we sell cattle. We inbreed. We do a bunch of stuff with our program at home. But I'll tell you one thing. These are the ones you want to start out with, because these are the ones that make future good in that breed and in your cattle and what you're doing at home in your breeding program also, whether they be yours or for breeders or whatever else you're trying to do with your program, because this is a nice one. No doubt that she looks good. She fits the par of what we want in our show cattle, and she stamps that breed really well. She's got a great head. She extends up to her crest and how she comes back. It just ties into her blade and how she sets down into her belly and her forerib. Yeah, she's a little bit more greener today, young man, since her first show, so she's got to learn how to be a show heifer too. But boy, she stamps it really good in a positive manner. I think just a lot of good positive points also in those manners. But boy, just read the hip on her and how she just ties into her tail. And she's a little bit more higher. She got to go into that tail head and let that thing just settle down just a little bit more on a carcass standpoint. But still really good. Got good functional feet and legs. She's just got to grow into her body. She's got to grow into her core of her body through her forerib. But boy, I like that middle rib. She's already got it kind of coming out. She's got those ribs really extended out too. So, and she gives you such a picture from the front 1/3. Thank you, young man, for bringing a very nice calf to start off the heifer show this morning.
Results of Class 1 Angus heifers. Congratulations, Grafton Condon. Entering the ring at this time, Class 2, we have a single entry by Avery Becker. This heifer was born November 2nd, 2025. We're looking for Aubrey O'Meara's 2 entries for Class 3 and Georgiana Condon's for Class 3 to the makeup area. We also need Class 4 heifers. Exhibitors include Lexi Zepp, Garth Condon to make their way to the makeup area. Again, Class 3, Class 4 Angus heifers to the makeup area.
Another nice single entry over here. The young lady says she has a November heifer. And, you know, this one's a little bit more different built than that one that we just saw in that first class. This is a little bit more stouter. She's got a little bit more feature to her also. She's a little bit more on her maturity pattern of her forerib and her middle rib. And, you know, she's got some density to that back rib and how she travels down to her flank. But you read her over her top. I mean, she's got some expression of muscle down that loin and how she ties into her tail to set and how she comes down. And she's got some muscle, and she's got some good muscle texture down the lower portion of that leg, and she's got enough for me. You know, you don't have to be overbearing with muscle on these heifers because you want them to be a little bit more feminine. I think that's where we can maybe fix her just a tad bit, pull her shoulder in just ever so slightly, give her just a little bit more look right there to that shoulder, the blade. She wants to come out ever so slightly, but still on in between where she that breastplate and how she ties in, she still's got some feminine characteristics. You read her over her pole, over the crest of her neck. She gives you such a good look, such a pleasant look also. On a structural standpoint, she might get a little bit more tired than probably what I like on a structural standpoint. I like to just give her a little bit more ease and flex right there onto that back pastern, but still a really nice one, a really good one. Boy, just admire the balance over the top and the power and shape that she comes in down to her loin, and she's got some freshness also. Congratulations, young lady, for that single entry.
Congratulations to Avery Becker from Class 2. In the ring at this time, we have 3 exhibitors, 2 entries by Aubrey O'Meara and 1 from Georgiana Condon. These heifers range in age from April 5th to April 25th.
We got a nice class here, 3 of them, and I think different type and kinds if you see them and you study them. But this one right here, this one wins. This one wins because of the build of her. I like her. She gives you that show look presence of this heifer through the front 1/3 of her body. She might come out just a little bit more in her breastplate. I'd like to clean her up just ever so solid. But after that, boy, she punches the power on the top of that loin and how she ties into her, I take tail to set. She's got some natural muscling down there that goes down to the lower portion of her twist, but still appreciate this heifer with the amount of body, the depths of density of rib and middle rib that she carries into a carcass standpoint. But you get over the top of her blades and how she sets down. She sets so good. She sets so level. She's got some feminine characteristics, and then just drops down into shoulder to blade. She's got some good feet and legs. You know, yeah, she might want to come in just ever so solid. I'd like to give her out just a little bit more punch right there. Let her walk out just a little bit more easier on her structural system if you want to get kind of, I'd say just a little bit more on getting to I think the things that might be wrong with her, but I don't think that's the things that are wrong with her. I think, you know, that's just things that how they are and how that structural system goes. But she's still a really nice heifer to win this class. Congratulations, young lady. Young lady comes in second, more the pudgier one, I think, of the bunch, but one that's got some power and it's got some shape also. Maybe just give this a little bit more femininity right there through the front 1/3 of her body. But boy, I just appreciate the barrel, the depthness of rib and how she ties into her flank. I like her lines over the top and how she sits into her tail. And yeah, she's got some extra muscle right there, the back 1/3 of her body, but I still think she's adequate on structure and how she rolls and how she goes also into the shoulder. But I like her just for her mass and the amount of power and shape that she has over the top. Also, like I said, if we could fix that shoulder to blade and make it a little bit more attractive. Young lady comes in with a really neat one. I like this one a lot. I thought that pair was really close. She's super cool over the top. She just gets too plain on her hip and how she drops down right there into her muscle to pattern. Also, I'd like to just clean it. I just like to make it a little bit more stouter. When we talk about tail to set, we talk about muscle. She closes in just a little bit more on that back 1/3 of the leg. I like to open her up just ever so slightly, but still appreciate the good depth of body, the good rib that she has into her also. Very, very nice, a good class. Congratulations, exhibitors.
Congratulations on Angus Heifers Class 3. First went to Georgiana Condon, second to Aubrey O'Meara, and third to Aubrey O'Meara. Moving into Class 4, we have 2 exhibitors, Lexi Zepp and Garth Condon. These heifers have birth dates ranging between March 14th and March 29th. We do need Class 5. Class 5 Angus heifers need to be at the makeup area at this time. Class 5 Angus heifers to the makeup area. Additionally, first call for all firsts and seconds from our classes to be in the makeup area for the selection of champion Angus heifer. Following Angus, we will do a bred and owned, but Herefords, you're next.
got a really nice pair out here. And boy, these are two high volume heifers and kind of different types of heifers also from that standpoint. Young lady's going to win out of the pair. I think this one's just a really attractive run from the front 1/3 of her body and how she just ties into shoulder and blade and how she comes up. And her neck's so really cool and then just really neat over the crest of that neck and how clean she is. We talk about her blade to set and then we set her in motion into that forerib and she's got some freshness right there through the front 1/3 of her body. But so she's so clean in her lines over the top of her hip and how she just ties down to her muscle to pattern and on her back feet. I like her on a structural standpoint, but I really appreciate that middle and how dense she is and how she comes and ties into her flank also. She gives you such a presence, such a nice look, very clean right there. Like I said, if we want to get picky on her, yeah, we can just adjust that shoulder just a little bit more and make her a little bit more attractive through the front 1/3 of her body, but still, that's a really nice looking good heifer. Love the balance, love the lines on her. Like I said, young man comes in more of the power heifer. Boy, big old bone, big old structure on her. She's really cool tooth from the front 1/3. I thought this pair was really close and they're type and kind. I like over the crest of her neck and how she ties into her blades. She's got some sogginess, she's got some depth of body, she's got some density of that middle rib, and you gotta like that. Maybe just gets out a little bit more into her tail and how she just kind of sets down. But like I said, that's a really good one. She's muscular built. She's got a lot of additive muscle right there also. Really stout mated and a really neat one also. You know, like I said, maybe just loses maybe a little bit more femininity in that front 1/3 of her body. She gets a little bit more, I say just a little bit more muscle in that shoulder and how that shoulder tied in. But still a very nice one to round out the pair. Congratulations to those exhibitors.
Entering the results of Class 4 is as follows. Congratulations. First to Lexi Zepp and second to Garth Condon. Into the ring at this time, we have our winner heifers, 2 exhibitors, Bentley Straitman, Grafton Condon. Birth dates on these heifers range from January 23rd to February 28th. Again, I do need first and second place Angus heifers to ringside at this time. First and second place Angus heifers to ringside.
Go ahead and set them back up. All right, boy, the attitudes of the heifers, I would give them an F on the report card today, the way they're acting. These 2 young men are fighting them, but still really nice ones, and they're hanging in there, and they're making sure that they get seen, and that's what I always tell kids, with these animals are fighting you sometimes, just make sure that judge gets some good looks, at least on that profile and on that back view, and we're going to keep them as they stand in this January pair. A young man has just a big old boulder one right there. We talk about loin, and loin's very important in breeding animals because I think think those hips need to be wide. They need to have some spread to them on their age also, but still they got to have something in the tank. They got to have some density. They got to have some rib. They got to have some four-rib also, and I think that's where that one excels in this class because I love her in her hip. Yeah, she gets maybe a little bit more upright into that tailhead. If we could just balance that one out just ever so solid, but still she gives you such a good presence, such a good look, a really nice feminine cowl over the top of her neck and how she ties in to that pole of her head. You know, yeah, we can say, hey, on the breastplate, we can just clean her up just a bit, tad bit, make her a little bit more attractive right there, but still love the bone work, love the feature in that cow. Also, just love the front one-third of her rib cage and how she ties in and then ties in the flank. She's got some development, a teeth development down there. Young man comes in with a really sleek, nice one, really cool one. Love the lines in this one also and how this one balanced out. Just didn't have enough power and shape right over the top of that blade to compete with the counterpart in the class, but still get a lot of good rib and turn a little good density of middle rib portion to her also. She's really nice. I thought that pair was extremely close also. Congratulations, those exhibitors.
Congratulations, Grafton Condon. First place in your Angus Heifer Class 5. Second to Bentley Streetman. We are now going to select your champion and reserve champion Angus Heifer. From Class 1, Grafton Condon. Class 2, Avery Becker. Class 3, Georgiana Condon. Class 4, Lexi Zepp. Class 5 winner was Grafton Condon. We would like to thank a few of our sponsors: Bounds Accounting and Tech Services, Carroll County Farm Bureau, Country Acres Farm, Gabe and Kelly Zeppin family, DBL Angus and DBL Angus Beef, Fountain Valley Farm, the Bechtel family, in loving memory of Jim and Sherry Claggett, the Garvick family, Brian and Melissa Garvick, Hannah Haynes and James Garvick, Kim and Drew Farm, and a Perry, Mike, and Wanda Rawlings.
But we get out in this champion drive for the breed and really good ones. And, well, they just got good lines in them. And some of them, you know, they didn't have to defend their title. There were single entries, and some of them had to come in with two really good high-quality pairs or three in those classes. And so I always tell kiddos, you know, you always want to, win your class. You want to come back and you want to go in for the breed drive. Doesn't matter how many are in your class. You won your class and you represent what you have on the halter, and that's the main thing. And so these are really good cattle. You can put them in different, I say, perspectives of how you want to breed them. If you want to make good steers, you want to make good heifers, commercial heifers, or whatever your intentions are on your breeding programs. But these are super good ones. And there's a pair out here that I really like. I thought those were just kind of stamped that mark of being just ones that got some femininity, but still got some feature of how old they are. Do they look like a January? And, do they look like a baby calf? And so that's how you kind of want to judge these things in perspective. And then that's what I always tell people, hey, judge the class and see what you like in that class. If you keep on going back then, you probably like that one pretty well. And there's one of them I do like out here, but I thought that one had balanced up super good on just the amount of density of the foot and bone, and then that one had just really good density of rib. And so we got to have, get down to the mature ones. Yeah, we need more rib. We need more feature to them. And so that's what they do. We got to put more in the tank, and fill them up. But there's one of them out here I truly like. Thought that one was really good. The lady right here in front of me is going to be your champion. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good job. bring that second one out from that class. I thought she was really good. You know, like I said, maybe just cleaning her up on her front 1/3 of her body, giving her a little bit more femininity. She gets out just a little bit more in that shoulder and blade and that breast plate, but still a really good one. I like her lines. I like her design also. There's another one I thought that was really good, that balanced out, that was very smooth in her pattern, and how she just kind of hit the show ring floor and just gave you that look, that presence. Going to be your young lady right here with the more of the baby. Congratulations. Good job showing. Good job showing. Good job showing, man. Nice catch.
I will give you those results in just a second, but we are looking for our bred and owned Angus heifers to return to the ring. We should have an entry by Grafton Condon, Aubrey O'Meara, and Lexi Zepp. Again, Grafton, Aubrey, and Lexi, return to the ring, please, with your bred and owned Angus heifer. I'd like to congratulate your champion Angus heifer was exhibited by Georgiana Condon with FDE Elba. And your reserve was exhibited by Avery Becker. In the ring at this time, we have your bred and owned heifers. We're going to go ahead and place 1, 2, and 3, with your first being your champion Angus bred and owned heifer. While Judge Dietze is evaluating our bred and owned heifers, I would like to introduce our royalty in the ring. Emily O'Meara, please raise your hand. This is Emily O'Meara. She represents Carroll County, and she's the Maryland Angus Princess. And next to her, Everly, please raise your hand. This is Everly Hester, and she's from Carroll County, and she's representing the Maryland Hereford Association as their princess. Put your hands together and congratulate these young ladies and thank them for being here today.
When we get into this bred and owned class, I know these heifers have already been evaluated once by me, but you get them out of here and you got to compare them and contrast them. And so, you know, I talked that little one being just so sleek and good, and the future is going to be very, very bright for that young man. Just got to keep her going, get her attitude a little bit better, let her say, hey, she's going to be a show heifer, and get her filled up, because I think that you read her just on structure and bone and grow into that. That's going to be a really nice one, young man. I thought this young lady also, that's a really nice one, maybe just got a little bit bit more heavier fronted for me than what I like, but still you got to appreciate the density of rib in the middle portion and how she just ties into her loin and how she sets down. Maybe give her a little bit more shot of muscle right there, the lower portion of her body down to that twist. A young lady right here, I talked that one really deep in class. I thought that one was in contention of being a grand reserve overall, but she is really neat. She's got some femininity to her. She's got some density of that full rib and that middle rib and how she just ties into her flank. I like her a lot from that standpoint. I think she balances out super well. Like I said, maybe just gets a little bit more closer on a structural standpoint on those back legs, but still a very nice one, a really neat one to admire. Also, love the balance on her. She's going to be your champion out of the group. Congratulations. Young lady will be reserved. Congratulations, young man will follow third. Really, really nice. Let's give these kids a round of applause. They did an excellent job. Good job, buddy.
Results of your bred and owned division is as follows. Your champion bred and owned Angus heifer was exhibited by Lexi Zepp. Second was awarded to Aubrey O'Meara, and third to Grafton Condon. That does conclude our Angus heifer show, although we will see Georgiana back at the end of the day to compete for Supreme Heifer. We're now ready for Hereford heifers.
They've got 2 classes here.
Mr. Dave, you've got this. We should only have Boyd in the ring at this time. We're so excited to show Hereford heifers here today. We're just moving right along. I blame the gate person. I'm blaming Mikey for this. So welcome to your Hereford Heifer Show. This is Class 9. We have a single entry. This heifer was born January 5th, 2026. We know we have Class 10 on standby already, but I am looking for Class 11 and Class 12 to start making their way ringside. Class 11, Class 12 to ringside. For those of you ringside, if you'd like a program to follow along with, they are next to me on this table closest to the sheep.
Young man brings us a heifer that, boy, you know, you read her green, but boy, you read her good on her lines. And these ones that get me excited at home when we have some like these, because I think you can do a lot with these different types and kinds. I think you're just going to have to take time on her. Of course, you know, she got a break and halter on and things like that, so she's just got to learn to be a show. That's all I just said about there. She's good. We'll talk her real quick, but just really nice. And boy, like I said, these ones get me excited because just the extension of neck and how she ties into her shoulder and blade, and still the amount of leatherness that she has in the middle portion of her spine and how she ties into her hip and how she comes down to that muscle pattern. Yeah, you read her a little green today, and she's just a baby, and he's getting her out, getting her going, and wants her to be a good-looking show heifer. But boy, he's got all the check marks right there, being a very nice one. We read her on a structural standpoint. We read her joints. We read her bones. She's really good. She's really fluent in that structural system also. And you put the go button on her. As you can see, she got some go button into her at the first, right there at the beginning of the show. But very, very nice. I like her on a structural standpoint also. You read her a little bit more green on muscle the pattern, but she's going to get better. Congratulations, young man. That's a very nice one to start out the Hereford show with.
Congratulations to our January heifer, exhibited by Boyd Bechtel first. Entering the ring now, we have Hereford heifers in Class 10. 2 entries with birth dates ranging between September 6th and October 25th, 2025. Exhibitors include Lucy Flynn and Clara Collins.
got a nice pair out here. I think, you know, different types and kinds out here. Young lady's going to win with the more stouter one, but the one that's, I think, is just really good. And this one, you study lines on cattle all day long and just appreciate the amount of, I'd say, just the top shape and the amount of power she has into her hip and how she ties down to muscle and how she flows on a structural system also. I like her. I like her in her middle portion of her rib also. You know, she might get a little bit more thicker right there into the neck. You can tame that down just a little bit, get a little bit more feminine look. The shoulder to blade and how she ties them, I think she's got enough, and she's got a lot of power, so you give her take right over the top of those blades. And so, you know, with that much muscle, you're going to give her take just a little bit more from that front 1/3 of her body. But boy, I love the hair coat on that one also, young lady. The young lady comes in second with more of the greener heifer. We just got to give this one time because I like the fore rib in that. I like the middle rib in that one also, and that's something to start off with. On a muscle standpoint, yeah, she gets too light for me. She gets too plain in her muscle pattern. We just got to open her up ever so slightly on our skeletal system also. Like I said, we just read her green, but still appreciate the femininity that she has to the front 1/3 of her body. Just keep on going with her, get her out of that green stage and put her head in the feed bucket and let her roll, because you still got a really nice one, young lady. Congratulations to that pair.
Results of your Hereford Heifer Class 10 is as follows. First, Lucy Flynn. Second, Clara Collins. In the ring, we have Hereford Heifers in Class 11. Entries include Macy Eves and Madison Young. These heifers were born respectively on March 15th and April 21st. In the waiting area, we need Hereford Heifers in Class 12 and 13 ringside. Hereford Heifers Class 12 and 13. Exhibitors and parents in the building, we have important information. Please listen carefully. First, if you are parked in the therapeutic area, if you are parked in that area, that grassy area next to the therapeutic building, you need to move your vehicles immediately. We have Wild West exhibitors coming in. Please move your vehicles immediately from the therapeutic pasture. Second, if you have goats, sheep, or pigs, and you have emptied your wheelbarrows near the wash racks at that end of the building, please clean it up and take it down past the cattle and put it into the area assigned for manure. While you're down there, you can pick up your shavings. It's a win-win. Again, goats, sheep, and pig exhibitors. Your manure goes at the other end of the building.
Well, I think this pair is extremely close, and I'll talk them and tell you how I place them because they're that close. And they're different types and kinds out here. The young lady that was just kind of fighting her on the halter. You know, that's all right. You know, we're here at the county show, but she gets her setup. She gets her a very good presence, and I like that about her. You know, we read her. She's a little bit more bigger in her structure and her kind and in her build also. I like her, the middle portion of her body. I think at this stage she's got some udder development also down there. Didn't ask her if she was was bred, but it's certainly a good dense one. I like her for that standpoint. We just read her on her hip. She just gets a little bit more plainer for me. I like to just level her out just a tad bit on that hip and how she comes down into her muscle. She's got some muscle and pattern there also. And, just appreciate that big forerib that she has into her also. And, these heifers are getting a little bit more maturity on them, and they're getting a little bit more, size and scale on them. So that brisket, gets out just a tad bit right there. But still, you appreciate her over the crest of her neck and her pole and how she certainly ties in. She's a really nice one to admire. The young lady comes in with another one, just super good, super dense, and how she just ties into her hip and how she just rolls really good. On her back legs, I think she just got to get a little bit more. She gets a little bit more closer right there on a structural standpoint on her passion. I like to just ease her up just ever so slightly. But boy, appreciate just the big old rib and the forerib in her also, and how she ties in over the crest of her neck. She gets a little bit more pudgy right there from the front 1/3 of her body. Maybe loses just a little bit more look, but still pretty very nice dense one. You appreciate that amount of density that she has into her forerib also. A really nice, good pair. That's outstanding. Congratulations to both young ladies.
Results of your Class 11 Hereford Heifer class. First was awarded to Macy Eves and second to Madison Young. In the ring at this time, Hereford Heifers Class 12. Exhibitors include Ella Swan, Addie Collins, Lucy Flynn. Birth dates range from February 9th to February 20th. Looking for Hereford Heifers in Class 13. Hereford Heifers Class 13.
We got a nice 3 out here, and really, I think, if you study them, they're different types and kinds also as we read them on their body conformation. But I think the young lady right here, this is a good one. This is a good start of this class. This one just has a super good lines over the top of her and how you read her. As she just comes down to muscle to pattern on those back legs. As she gets a little bit more upright into that tail head, maybe gets just a tad bit more plainer. We want to talk about that hip and how much fill she has into her. But still, I think think she's good. She's adequate, because you got to appreciate that middle full rib and the middle portion of her rib and how she just ties down to her flank. Really nice. She's showing she's getting a little bit more maturity. She's getting a little bit more out into her brisket, into her plate. But still, you read her over the top of her crest and down her pole, and you just study her face. She looks good. She's got such good feminine characteristics of how she looks and how she just ties down into the blade. And so, like I said, love the middle portion of that heifer. Very, very nice. Very attracted to that middle portion of her body. Very good young lady to start the class out. Go ahead, young lady right here. I got one that's got some hair on it. Go ahead and pull it out. Really nice one. Boy, I thought this pair was really close, and they're type and kind, and just love the amount of rib and shape that one has down to her loin also. And she levels right here over her top and down to her spine. You know, to me, I just read her, she has a little bit more extra to her. I'd like to just clean her up, and I wouldn't say finish. I just say a little bit more. I'd say just on the tailhead, I read her to just tame her down just a tad bit, and how she just ties into that tail set. If we could fix that ever so slightly. She does have a little more condition on her right there through the front 1/3 of her body, into her brisket, into her breastplate, and she wants to come out into her shoulder just ever so slightly. I like to clean her up, give me a little more feminine look, but still appreciate her neck and how she ties into the back of her blades and how dense she is down to her rib. Like I said, just on a conditional standpoint, we just need to tame her down a little bit more and get her a little bit more fit right there back to that tailhead also. Like I said, how I read her, but still a very nice one to sit second. Congratulations. Anyway, young lady's going to round out third with more of the greener one of the bunch. But, you know, you read this one really good with a lot of feminine characteristics to the front 1/3 of her body. We just got to give her more full rib. We got to get her more middle rib also. She gets too much higher into her flank and to her pins, and that just takes time. You just got to keep them going. You got to get them a little bit more wide, a little bit more constructed right there down to her loin also, because I think I read her really good. We just got to fill her up, and we just got to give her more power and shape of muscle from that standpoint also, but still a nice one to round out on the third spot. Congratulations, young lady. Let's give them a good round of applause. They did an excellent job in that class.
Results of Class 12 Hereford Heifers. First was Lucy Flynn, second to Ella Swan, and third to Addie Collins. In the ring at this time, we have our last class of Hereford Heifers before moving on to our champion division. We have two head being entered, Ella Fritz and Boyd Bechtel. Heifers in this class are from our January 8th and 13th.
We bring these bred heifers out here, and I wouldn't say freshly bred. I think young man said 4 and young lady said 3. Oh, this is a nice pair, and I think that they're really good in their quality also. I'm going to leave them as they stand. I like the young man's. I think that one just gives you a little bit more look right over there. We talk about neck and how that one just ties in, maybe just a little bit more cooler over that hip. And then we talk about structural system. We talk about big bone. She's got it. I like her a lot for that standpoint, but still on a muscle standpoint, just good and contains good muscle and texture back there also on her back legs, and, give them kind of a fit on the showing aspect of it. Yeah, both of them are kind of reaching that maturity. She gets out just a little bit more on her plate compared to the counterparts, a little bit more cleaner right there from the front 1/3. But her blade and shoulder, we just got to fix that ever so slightly. I think she gets a little bit more choppier right there from the front 1/3 of her body, but still really good, really dense over the top of her spine and how she ties into a big old hip. I like that. She maybe gets a little bit more closer into her back legs also on that structure. We'd like to just ease her up just a tad bit, but still a really nice one. Good looking hair coat on that one also. Can tell the young lady's been doing her job at home on that hair. Congratulations to both of those exhibitors.
We'd like to congratulate Boyd Bechtel first and Ella Fritz second. We're now ready to select your champion, Hereford Heifer. Entering the ring at this time, we have from Class 9, we have Boyd Bechtel. That heifer will be exhibited by Lexi Zepp. She's a little shy. Here we go. From Class 10, we have Lucy Flynn exhibiting a September heifer. Your exhibitor from Class 11 is Macy Eves. That heifer has a birth date of April 21st. Class 12, your heifer is exhibited by Lucy Flynn, birth date of February 9th. And from our last class, we should have Boyd Bechtel. That heifer's birth date is January 8th. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for all our Hereford heifer exhibitors as we select your champion and reserve champion, Hereford heifer.
We'll continue. I know they're kind of dancing around on the exhibitors, but I talked to them all in class, and being from the small one here at the beginning, and then the younger one to the older one, and they're really nice, and they fit the part where they meet. You get them in line, you can see the development of, the broodier big cow here on the end. She stamps a good picture of just being one that's going to be good production oriented, because you just appreciate the middle and then how much fill that she has into her, really good. I like her feet and bone and legs also, you know, very, very nice. Like I said, we're getting mature on the front end, the one in front of her also. That's a really good looking heifer. Just admire the profile and the balance onto her hip and the middle portion of her body. Really nice. Young lady comes in with this big taller one, and they're just freaky or fronted right there into her neck and how she ties down. I like her head and how she carries down right behind her spine, and how she ties into the middle portion of her body. Talked to her a great deal. The young lady comes in with this super fancy one, very good with skin and hair on her also. I like her build. I like where she is in her stage of production. She's right on track of not being over-conditioned, just right. Got some feminine characteristics. Like I said, maybe gets out just a little bit more through that front 1/3 of her body ever so slightly, but still appreciate the good balance of hip on her and the hair quality, especially. Get into the baby also. That's a really nice looking baby. Just got to keep on moving forward with that one, because you read her good in her lines and her dimension and how she's so good and how she's so shapely. There's a pair of them I like. I really like one out here. I like that mature one to win the breed. Congratulations to young man. Bring that one out here. Boy, just such good. I talked about good hair quality on that heifer also. Maybe just gets a little bit more, I'd say just a little bit more shorter in her stride. I like to just level her out, let her just have some ease and flex on a structural standpoint. But boy, it looked like the young lady, looked like it fed really good for her also. That one's got a nice build. That one's got some density also. She gets into the mix, and I need to have to make some decisions. And there's another one we can compare her to also that I like her build. I like how her design of her hip and how she came out. Big foot, big bone. The young lady right here is going to be reserved. Congratulations. Let's give these exhibitors a nice round of applause. Like I always tell kiddos and families, this is where you want to be. Win your class and come out and try to compete for grand and reserve in the breed. Very nice and good quality. Thank y'all for bringing them into the show ring this morning.
For our Hereford exhibitors, we do need Boyd and Lucy to bring their bred and owned heifers back in the ring. Boyd's bred and owned looks like the January 3rd, and Lucy's is the 9/6, the September 6th heifer. So if you can bring your two bred and owned heifers in the ring, we'll go ahead and place those two bred and owns. Your champion Hereford heifer was exhibited by Boyd Bechtel. That heifer was born January 8th, 2025. Your reserve was exhibited by Lucy Flynn, and that heifer's birth date was 9/6/2025. Again, we are selecting our bred and owned heifer at this time. Red Angus exhibitor, you are next. Red Angus, then Shorthorn.
Come in here for the bred and owned, and really good ones. I know I just talked that pair also, but you know, we read the little one just a little bit more greener in her pattern and her kind today, but still you appreciate the balance and what she's going to bring. The future's really bright for that one, young man. I like how I read her just on a structural standpoint and on a bone standpoint also, but still she's got some of the extras right there from the front 1/3 of her body, being a really cool, neat one right there down the neck and how she ties in the shoulder and blade. We just gave this young lady a reserve champion overall in the breed, and I still like that one. I like the points of view on her and how she just is super balanced up, and the density, how dense she is being a young heifer like that also, and then kind of holding that pattern of density to her rib and how she comes down into her flank. But appreciate the bone, appreciate the muscle and pattern on her also. She's going to win out of the pair. Congratulations to the young lady.
We'd like to congratulate Lucy Flynn. She is your Hereford heifer bred and owned champion, and Boyd Bechtel is second. We're now ready for our Red Angus heifers. Red Angus heifers, we're looking for Class 18. We moved Sadie Frock into Class 18. So in Class 18, we should have Sadie Frock and Lexi Zepp, red heifers. And if I'm reading this correctly, that will automatically be your champion and reserve champion Red Angus heifer.
Only got two out here for the breed, but Grand and Reserve. But these are two really nice heifers. I think a little bit more different in their type and kind. The young lady brings us one that's super good, super attractive. I like that one from the fore rib and the middle rib, and how that one just ties in and balances out so good onto that hip and to that tail set. She sits down on some muscle to pattern, also on her back legs. I like her for that standpoint. Also, read her on her teeth. She's got good teeth, but boy, we just come into that fore rib and how she just ties in over the top of her blade. She gives you such an attractive look from the front 1/3 of her body, how she ties in over to that neck and that crest of that neck also, and gives you such a pleasant look on her face, and boy, just gives you a feminine look too. Very, very nice and good and complete. Got a little bit more condition. We talk about brisket to plate down there, but still she contains it. She still has that good feminine look also from shoulder to blade. Should be your champion. Congratulations. Young lady's going to be reserved back here. That's a really neat one. Just kind of read her a little bit more greener right there over her hip and how she sets into her tail set and the pattern of her muscle. She just gets a little bit more plainer right there. I like to stouten her up on a muscle standpoint, but still I like the fore rib into her in the middle rib. I think she balances out there in the middle portion of her body, and she's got some good feminine characteristics. Read her from jaw to pole. Really like that face and really like how she comes and ties into her neck also. That's a neat pair. Let's give those two exhibitors a round of applause for that champion drive. Congratulations.
Congratulations to your Red Angus heifer exhibitors. Your champion Red Angus heifer was exhibited by Lexi Zepp. Your reserve was exhibited by Sadie Frock. And your champion bred and owned Red Angus heifer was exhibited by Sadie Frock. We now will move into our shorthorn division. We're going to start that division with a cow-calf pair exhibited by Haley Becker. We are looking for shorthorn heifers in class 24, 25, and 26. Please start making your way to ringside. We do have small classes, so we're looking for shorthorn heifers in 24, 25, and 26.
Well, to start the Shorthorn heifer show off, a really nice one. The young lady has a snowball right here with her baby, and so it said it's around 4 months old, and so that's what she wants. You know, in a production standpoint, we still get them out here and show them also, but she stands with a good young heifer calf. We'll evaluate her, and then we'll evaluate that heifer calf as a pair, but the mama, she's still put together really good. Looks like the young lady's put a lot of good conditioned on her, but she's still sleek in her design also. I like her forerib, I like her middle rib, and we talk about shoulder and how she ties in, and she's still really clean through the front 1/3 of her body and the crest of her neck. I read her really good on her face and how she just ties into the middle portion of her skeletal system also. Yeah, when these cows, they have a calf and they got them nursing and things like that, she drops just a little bit, maybe on conditioner onto that hip. She gets a little bit planar right there down to that tail head to muscle. But you got to understand, she's producing a calf back there also that's still nursing on her, and so that just takes away some nutrients also. Boy, I think she has her really good in her lines, and she's conditioned very, very well. And we talk about that udder, and I've been successful in Texas. I've had 3 state champions, dairy cattle evaluation teams in Texas, and we've gone on to the national convention in Louisville one time and a few times in Indianapolis. And so, but I look at udder quite well. I judge some dairy cattle shows in Louisiana, and we read that udder, and she's good. I like her teats. I think they're functional. I think they're symmetrically right on that udder floor and the base of that floor also. When we study that cleft and how she ties in and balances out really well. That's a very good, nice udder, especially for the size of that calf, where it's at in its stage of growth. And we talk about the calf right there. That's a neat one, you know. And hey, the genotypes, the genetic types, whatever you did to make that heifer, you made it a really nice one, young lady, because you read her super thin and super good through the front 1/3 of her body, but her middle portion is so good and complete also. We read her over her tail and how she ties into her hip down to the lower portion of those legs. She's got some bone, she's got some structure, but she got a good look also from the front 1/3 of her body. I like evaluating periods because I always say, hey, that's a product that you've actually made. You show that cow and you judge them, for the good that they have into them. And so very, very nice pair. Congratulations, young lady.
Results of your Shorthorn cow-calf pair is as follows. First was awarded to Haley Becker. Entering the ring at this time, we have Class 24 Shorthorn heifers. We have 2 exhibitors, Elena Enoff and Tristan Kaiser. Heifers in this class range in age from April 19th to April 30th. We're looking for Class 25, 26, and 27 Shorthorn heifer exhibitors to make their way ringside.
with two really nice ones coming in here, and I think two different types. As you see them, and the young lady brings us just a little bit more feminine one. I like her build. I say if you can change her, just drop her a little bit, middle portion of her body, her forward, get her a little bit more fuller into her flank also. But her lines are good. I like how she's just super cool from the front 1/3 of her body, and how she just transitions right on the top of her blade, and how she sits and down to her loin. I say, yeah, she needs a little bit more right there from the back 1/3 of her body, and from a muscle standpoint also, give her a little bit more shot of muscle down there, the lower portion of her body. But she's good on a structural standpoint. I like her feet. I like her bones also. Like I said, if we could just power her up just a little bit more right there in the middle portion of that body and drop that forward, but still a really clean and a really sleek one in her design. Young lady brings us one that's the stouty of the bunch. It's giving her kind of a fit, but that's a really neat one, boy. And you put her in a clubcraft production stage, and she's going to make you some good steers, and that's how I kind of read her. She's just a really good, a solid one. She's just good into her forerib and how she ties in on the top of her flank, and then all the way on the top of her loin, and how she sits down on her muscle to pattern. Also, she's got good bone. I really good on a structural standpoint. Also, she's kind of fighting the young lady, but boy, that's a super cool one and a super neat one to admire. It gets a little bit more chunkier right there from the front 1/3 of her shoulder to blade, and it gets a little bit more, I say, heavier right there into her neck area. But like I said, she's going to probably make some really good steers. You put her in a good program like that also, because that's a really nice one on market heifers, because boy, she's so dense and she's so good. That's two different types of heifers. It's kind of which one you like. I like the more feminine one looking one. I like that one. I just read that she balances out a little bit more better on a structural standpoint also. I'll keep them as they stand, 1 and 2. Congratulations to both young ladies.
Results of Class 24 Shorthorn Heifers. First was awarded to Tristan Kaiser, and second to Elena Enoff. We're going to move into Class 25. We have a single entry by Lorelei Barnett. This heifer was born March 9th, 2025.
The young lady brings us a single entry in this shorthorn breed, but a really nice one. And it just, I like her neck and her crest and how she just ties into her blade and set. And, okay, we say she gets a little bit more plainer right there from the back 1/3 of her body. I like to just stouten her up ever so slightly on that hip and how it just ties in to that hooks to pins. And when we talk about just muscle, it gets a little bit more flatter. She gets a little bit more closer on a structural standpoint. I like to ease her up. I like to free her hop just a tad bit on a structural and let her go just a little bit more smooth and easy as she hits the surface of the show ring, but still a really good one into her forerib and how her middle rib just ties in super good to flank. I like her for that standpoint. In her front end, she's got some good cleanness on her shoulder and how she ties into her joints through the front 1/3 of her body. I like her for that standpoint. I fixed just those few things right there from the back 1/3 of her body, but still appreciate how level her top is in the middle portion of her body. Also, that's a nice one, young lady. Congratulations for bringing her into show ring.
We would like to congratulate Lorelei Barnett on her first place with her March heifer. Into the ring at this time, we have Emma Harrison with a Shorthorn Heifer with a birth date of January 2nd, 2025. We're looking for Bridget Barber to be ringside with her Shorthorn Heifer. We also need all first and second place Shorthorn Heifers ringside for the selection of your champion Shorthorn Heifer.
Really nice white shorthorn heifer. I kind of like these. You can do a lot of different things with them. Some of the people in my country, they put these white ones on Charolais bulls and make really good steers out of them, show steers and show heifers also. Get into that AOB division. But I'll tell you one thing, she's a good one, and I like her a lot. You know, she's a little bit more looser in her skeletal system as she goes along the show ring, but there ain't nothing wrong with that because she's got some power and shape, and boy, just really clean right there. We talk about the front 1/3 of her body when we get into that brisket, into that plate, and I think she handles very good. She's got some strength right there. I like that, and how she ties it over the top of her skeletal system, and she balances out so good onto her hip. She doesn't have to overwhelm you with a lot of muscle, and I think she's got plenty of muscle for her build, and she's got good structure right there. Like I said, just gets maybe a little looser on those back legs once it come in just ever so slightly on that structural standpoint, but still she can handle that big old feet, bone, and legs, and that's a good thing to have on a show heifer because they pass that trait on, and that's very nice as you set them up with the bull of your type. But still, love that hip in her, love how she just ties into her tail head, but she's got some density of forward and middle rib right there also. That's a very nice, good-looking heifer young lady. Congratulations.
Class 26 Shorthorn Heifer results. Congratulations, Emma Harrison, on your first place. Entering the ring at this time, we have Bridget Barber. This heifer was born September 24th, 2024. I do need all first and second place Shorthorn Heifers to be ringside. We are going to be selecting the champion and reserve champion Shorthorn Heifer.
The young lady brings us a single entry in here on this more mature division, and a really good one. And boy, just appreciate the amount of foot and bone that she has. And those are really neat ones that you can do a lot of things within your breeding program also. Make some good steers or make some really good heifers. But I read her really nice. I think she, she could use just a little bit more touch of muscle over the top of her spine. And as we just kind of go down and dive into that fore rib and that middle rib, I like to see her just with a little bit more fullness. But really good on our muscle with a pattern on the back of her legs. I like that. Maybe just gets a little bit more plainer and on the lower portion of that muscle, but still appreciate her head and her neck and how she ties into the crest of her neck, but how she just ties into her shoulder and blading. It's super thin and super cool and neat right there from the front 1/3 of her body from that standpoint also, especially being in that mature kind of stage in her life, but still very good. Like I said, we just got to read her a little bit more deeper, a little bit more denser into that forward, into that middle rib also, but still light muscle and pattern. Maybe just give her a shot more muscle right there at the lower portion of her body. A very nice one, young lady. Thank you for bringing in. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Bridget Barber, on exhibiting your first place Shorthorn Heifer. Back into the ring at this time, we are going to select your champion Shorthorn Heifer. From class 24, we have Tristan Kaiser. This heifer's birthday is April 19th. Lorelei Barnett is exhibiting a heifer with a birth date of March 9th, 2025, followed by Emma Harrison. Her heifer has a birth date of January 2nd, 25. And finally, from our last class is Bridget Barber. Her heifer's birth date is September 24th. If you're following along in your program, our next breed will be Shorthorn Plus Heifers. Shorthorn Plus Heifers. We need classes 31 and 32. 31 and 32 to the makeup area at this time. Shorthorn Plus Heifers, please. I'd like to introduce our judge today. Judge Jacob Dietze is an agricultural science teacher from Belleville, Texas. He has been teaching, serving as an ag advisor for 26 years at Belleville High School. He graduated from Royal High School, attended Clarendon Junior College, where he was a competitive livestock judging team, and went on to Blinn College, where he finished his associate's degree in science. He graduated from Texas A&M University with a bachelor's degree in agricultural development and education. He has received many awards in education and was honored to be Citizen of the Year in Belleville, Texas. He grew up raising and showing cattle and many other livestock species at the young age and believes in agriculture industry for how it educates the youth. He has been blessed to have judged many market steers, breeding heifers, swine, sheep, poultry, and breeding shows throughout the state of Texas. Out of the state, he is judged to include Alaska, California, Colorado, Louisiana, Indiana, Wyoming, Maryland, and an international judge at the Expo Gandera in Mexico, both market and breeding animals. He is the owner of JD4 Clipper Blade Sharpening and Repair Service and owns a herd of crossbred breeding sow cattle. He trained many Texas FFA state and national teams in livestock and dairy evaluations. He has also judged national and FFA speaking contests. Please put your hands together and welcome Mr. Dietze here to our Carroll County Fair.
Well, thank you for that introduction, and yes, I've been teaching. This is year 27 for me, and FFA advisor there at the high school. I have a great program. We've had a national office and three state officers also on the leadership end of it, so a very good program, and I wouldn't change it for anything, and that's why I stake my roots there and raising my kids in my hometown, in that hometown also. But really, really nice set of heifers out here. These are good ones, and I think there's just different types and kinds of where you want to go on these. Young lady brings us one that's super thin, super cool. Love that one from the middle third of her body, drop her flank ever so slightly, give her just a little bit more of the extras. Young lady right here too, that one's really nice. Like I said, just on that hip, we just got to fix that hip, get that a little bit more on a structural free standpoint, but love the density of rib. The white heifer here, she's really classy, she's really showy. I like her a lot, you know, maybe just give her a little bit more shot of muscle right there. The back 1/3 of her body as she patterns out, but still appreciate that big old bone, that big old foot. Round out with the more mature one, also talked about that. We just need a little bit more right there for the forward, in the middle portion of her body, get her a little bit more over her hip, but still love her design. Very, very nice. Can do a lot of different things. I think it gets closer. The one I like is the white heifer right here to be your champion. Congratulations. And she was a single incher. Young lady down here on the end is going to be reserved. Congratulations. Good job.
Lorelei, hold on one second. We would also like to announce that Lorelei Barnett will be your champion shorthorn bred known heifer while she was in the ring. Congratulations to your shorthorn heifer exhibited by Emma Harrison, who's your champion. Your reserve shorthorn heifer was Tristan Kaiser. And again, your bred and owned shorthorn champion was Lorelei Barnett. We are now ready to move into our Shorthorn Plus heifers. Our first class includes Georgiana Condon and Haley Becker. These heifers are respectively February 9th and 10th.
We'll get this first class of Shorthorn plus heifers out here, and really neat ones, and we show quite a bit of those in Texas also. Get to see evaluate a bunch of those heifers on that standpoint. But really nice ones. I think these two are really cool looking young heifers that are just starting out. Yeah, we read them green, of course. They've got to get in the show ring and they got to act like show heifers, and that's why we have them here. And what a great way to start out your county fair, getting them into the show ring and getting them shown. But young heifer, the young lady with the heifer with the red is going to win out of this bunch. I think that one was just your combination one. It just had a little bit more of the extra ones right there onto her loin, how she just ties down to her muscle and to her pattern. Like I said, she's just a little bit more on her condition than the black heifer, because the black heifer, she's neat, she's fancy, she's cool, and you just got to give that one time, because I love her design and how she just ties in so good to her loin and how she sets into her tail set. But boy, she's got some good feet, bone, and legs also to match that frame size, and she's got some belly already working onto her also, so hopefully she feeds good, but still got a really good look, a big old long neck. We get back to the red one also, just super cool, super sleek in her design. And at this stage of their growth and their pattern, they need to be a little bit more thinner, because they're going to get a little bit more thicker and they're going to start growing muscle and shape and rib and that forward and that middle rib also. Thank you, young ladies. They're very nice. They're good ones, and then hopefully in the future you just keep on moving forward with them. A very nice pair. Let's congratulate these two young ladies. Got a single entry here, and a really nice one, a good deep-bodied one, and we study this one on her forerib and her middle rib. I like her for that standpoint, really good. And we'll talk about how she just sets in the middle portion of her skeletal system and hits her loin really hard. She's nice. We can say she gets a little bit more, I say just in her front one-third of her body to her shoulder to her neck. We can extend that neck out just a tad bit, but I know that's what the young lady has, and she looks good, though. I like that for that standpoint. If we could just give her a little bit more neck right there, but still a really neat one to admire over her hip and how she ties down to her pattern. She might get a little bit more closer on a structural standpoint. We can just give her a little bit more free and easy right there. We talk about that passion as it hits the floor, but still she got good muscle. Maybe give her a little bit more shot right there in the center portion of that, I'd say in the middle portion of that twist, just ever so slightly, and adjust that tail head, but still very, very sleek and nice in her design. Love the middle portion of her body. Like her hair coat, got a really nice, good-looking hair coat onto her also, and that takes time. Thank you, young lady. That's a really nice one. Congratulations.
Results of Class 31. First was awarded to Haley Becker and second to Georgiana Condon. Class 32 was a scratch. Class 33, congratulations, Lainey Mae Barnett. Class 34 is entering the ring. We have two entries in this class, Michaela Comer and Lucas Barnett. And Lillian Bertier, sorry about that, that's moved out of Class 35. So this is Class 34, three entries, Michaela Comer, Lucas Barnett, Lillian Bertier. Birth dates range from March 2nd to March 18th. At the conclusion of this class, we will be selecting your champion and reserve champion, Shorthorn plus Heifer. Also, the next division will be AOB. Again, AOB Heifer exhibitors, we will be moving into your division next.
I think a really nice and interesting class. We get into these more mature ones. I'm going to leave them as they stand, 1, 2, and 3. The young lady's going to win with the painted up one, and that's a nice one. You read her just being super dense and good. I think she just balances out just a little bit more easier and level right there. We talk about that hip and how she just ties into that hooks to pins. I like her for that standpoint. I think she's a little bit more constructed, a little bit easier on that tail set, and how she sits down to muscle to pattern. The counterpart behind her, yeah, she may not be just that biggest boned one right there out of that pair, but boy, she's super dense and super good. And I think you just kind of go on hip on these two heifers as you compare and contrast them, and that's what I see into them. But still, she's got some feminine characteristics. She gets a little bit more up, I say, just in that shoulder if you want to be a little bit more pickier on her, a little bit more thicker right there into the neck, but still like her from her pole to her jaw and how I read her. She's got some good feminine characteristics also. A very, very nice one. A young man comes in one that's super good on bone and feature. I like her for that standpoint. Maybe on her hip, like I said, we could just give her just a little bit more shot right there. And she wants to come down and labor just a little bit as we ask her to go on a structural standpoint onto her loins. She wants us to dive down just a tad bit and then read her tail head just to be up a little bit more upright and just tame that down just a shot. But still, when he gets her set up, you like her pose, you like her position of her forerib into her middle rib. And boy, just appreciate that big old long neck and how she ties into her jaw, to her pole, to her nose. She gives you such a good standard look right there. And then how she just kind of comes down behind those blades and how she sets down. Maybe she looks a little bit more right there needed than the class champion, but I have to go on just want to have a little bit more hip, a little bit more, I say, down at the lower portion of that twist. on a muscle standpoint, but still, that's a very nice, good, close pair. Congratulations, young man. We round out with the white heifer back here. Super good, super feminine. Love that neck and extension of that neck to shoulder to blade. Also, love the density into her middle portion of her rib. Also, she just gets a little bit more planar right there from tail to set on a muscle standpoint, on a pattern. She wants to kind of duck in right there on a structural standpoint on the back of those legs. I can just kind of ease that one up, give her a little bit more strength to pasturing right there also, but still a very nice one to round out the class. Like I said, a very good dense one in the middle portion of her body.
We'd like to congratulate the following exhibitors from Class 34. First was awarded to Michaela Comer, second to Lucas Barnett, and third to Lillian Bertier. Entering the ring at this time are the heifers that are going to compete for your champion and reserve champion Shorthorn Plus. In the ring first is Haley Becker. This heifer is from February 10th. Next, we have Lainey Mae Barnett. Her heifer was born April 26th. Following her is Michaela Comer. From our last class, this heifer's birthday was March 18th. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. This is your champion Shorthorn Plus heifer drive.
We'll get out to the Shorthorn Plus drive, and really nice ones in their own right, and kind of talk that baby just being super cool. Had a little bit more of the extras on feel and body today for me, but super balanced one. That lady comes with a super good one with hair. That haircut, I like that. I like the shag on that one. Like I said, just love the front 1/3 and the middle portion of her body also. She's really neat. Like I said, just give her a little bit more muscle and tone on that back 1/3 of her body and open her up just a tad bit on a structural system. Young lady, this one, the class with the really nice painted up one. I thought that pair was pretty close, and just super good in her rib and her forerib, and how she just ties into muscle to powder, and also still gives you that good look right there from the front 1/3 of her body. I think her name is Daytona. That's the heifer's name. But March 18th, well, that's my birthday also, so that's kind of crazy. I've judged about almost close to 30 years now with counting my college years, and so I've never had a heifer on my birthday, say that you say your birthday out there. So that's kind of crazy, but that's kind of neat also. But she's going to be your champion. Congratulations.
Michaela, we're going to need you for the bred known class. Michaela, we're going to need you for the bred known class. Also, Georgiana, we're going to need you for the bred and known class. Thank you. Entering the ring at this time, we have Lucas Barnett.
Young man.
Go ahead, I'm so sorry.
Young man brings that reserve class champion, and I thought that pair was pretty close. I talked them really good, and sometimes being a judge and evaluating animals, you have to find things that, to pick things apart, and pieces sometimes, that's what you have to judge by, which one has that one, because it looks a little bit more better. And I thought, her, she's so good, though, good haircut. I love her build. She's so classy and so neat from just the standpoint of being that big structure, big muscle. And like I said, just maybe on the hip, the tail set. Sometimes you just got to be a little bit more pickier on these good ones, but he's going to be reserved. Congratulations.
Haley and Lainey Mae, you guys can just stay in the ring because we're going to do a bred and own class, and you're both in that class. So we're going to keep you there, and we're going to bring Georgiana and Michaela Comer back in. This will be your bred known class, and we're going to place them 1 through 4. We've seen these heifers before. We're just going to do a quick placing on that. Thank you. Attention livestock exhibitors and parents, attention in the barn, attention in the barn. If you are parked in the therapeutic riding ring pasture where tie-outs will be, you need to move your vehicles at this time. Our Wild West Show exhibitors are coming in and they need the area. Again, if you are parked in the tie-out area, better known as the therapeutic pasture, please immediately move your vehicles. Thank you.
We get over here to the bred known, and you kind of saw how I placed them, and these are really nice and good looking heifers, and you know that's good that your fair offers that program to the kiddos also, so that should mean something to the parents and kids and to the exhibitors out here. The one I like, I just stamped her grand, so she's going to be first. Congratulations to the young lady. Young lady with this bigger one's going to be second. Congratulations to her. Very, very nice one. Young lady's going to be third, and we'll round out with fourth with the young lady with the black heifer. Let's give them a good round of applause. That was a nice and good quality show in that breed.
We are ready to move into your AOB division. Entering the ring at this time, we have Josh Green with a maintainer, and Alyssa Spielman is exhibiting a Simmental. Heifers in this class range in age from May 2nd to May 12th. I am looking for Class 40. Class 40, please be ringside at this time. Again, if you are parked in the therapeutic pasture, aka tie-outs, you need to move your vehicle at this time. I think two kind of different types of builds out here. Young lady, I think brings us to Simmental, and I like her out of the bunch. I think that one just kind of marks that show heifer look for me today out of this pair. She's a little bit more, I'd say, longer in her maturity pattern also, but she's good and she's dense of where she needs to be, and she's got some really good feminine characteristics right on the top of the crest of her neck and how she ties down to brisket and plate. Yeah, she gets up maybe just a little more upright into that chest for her. I like to change her just a tad bit right there, make her a little bit more sleeker, but still, that's
that's a very well-designed heifer. If you like one that has balance, I read her balance so good over her hip and how she ties into her tail, into her set also. She's got some muscle down the lower portion of her body. One thing I like on a structural standpoint, I like to just ease her up just a tad bit, let her move free just a little bit more easier on those back legs, but still she can still handle and drop her hock just a tad bit, but still really nice. I like her design. I love the density of rib and forerib she has into her also. She went out of the pair. Young man will be a second, but that's a really good looking heifer. I think you just got to keep on giving her a little bit more time. She wants to kind of go up front into her shoulder, but I think if you get her shown right, get her neck up, get her extended, that's going to change her whole core of her body because, boy, she's such good bone. I like her structure also on that standpoint. Really good muscle tone and how she ties in also. Very, very neat to the front 1/3 of her body. Just kind of get on working on her head and get her elevated from point to shoulder, and she'll give you another look, young man. But still, that's a really high-powered heifer. That's a good one. That's a very close pair. Very, very nice ones. Let's give those kiddos a round of applause to start that AOB show.
We would like to congratulate our Class 39 AOB heifer exhibitors. Alyssa Spielman was first, and Josh Green was second. Entering the ring now, we have AOB Class 40. I have 4 entries, including Libby Green, Gannon Andrew, Jason Trump, and Hunter Huff. Heifers in this class range in age from April 5th to April 15th.
two really nice, good ones. And top, I think we got 4 of them out here, and the white heifers also are really good in their own right. You can go ahead and walk that one around, young man, right there behind them. We'll get them in line and talk them. But young lady wins the class. That's a really nice. That's probably the more denser one to the 4 rib out of this pair. I like this black pair. I think, you know, they got some good things to her. I like her over her tail set and how she just ties in. She's super dense into her loin, and how she just kind of settles down into that lower portion of her flank. Also, she gives you kind of that presence of a really nice, good look, and a heifer look, and over the crest of her neck, and how she ties into her head, into her pole also. But super good. She might get a little bit more chunky right there from the front 1/3 of her body and open up just a tad bit in her shoulder blade if you want to be critical on that standpoint. Thought the young man, boy, just a really nice hair coat on this one. But this one has to relax from a structural standpoint. Gets too high on that heel, wants to come underneath that skeletal system, but still love the build on that one. Just give that one a little bit more time on the forerib and the middle rib also. And the tail head comes up just a tad bit, and wants to kind of roach that loin just ever so slightly on a structural standpoint. Like I said, we just need to fix that, let that relax just ever so slightly, but a nice one. And just get a little bit more to the middle of forward, the middle portion of that body rib, in the middle rib. Young man comes in with a good, nice, good-looking, sleek one. Just gets a little bit more plainer right there in that hip junction right there, and then on to the lower portion of that muscle. Wants to kind of buckle just a tad bit into that passion, get out a little bit more free and easy, more look, but still like the feminine look from the front 1/3 of the body, and how that one ties into that loin there. Young man around at the class there, another super good-looking one also. A very good feminine-looking heifer right there. This gets too plainer for him, as you see. She wants to sway just a tad bit onto that loin. We need to strengthen that loin up. We need to drop that tail head ever so slightly. Give it a little bit more muscle and a little bit more pattern right there on those back legs, as she wants to kind of swing underneath her structural system also. But still admire that good middle rib and that good fore rib into her also. She gives you such a good look, such a good presence from the front 1/3 of her body. Very nice one to round out the class. Congratulations, exhibitors.
Congratulations to Class 40 exhibitors. Libby Green was first with her maintainer heifer. Second was Hunter Huff with his Keanee. Third was Jason Trump with a Charlet. And fourth was Gannon Andrew, also exhibiting a Charlet. Into the ring at this time, we're bringing Class 41 AOB heifers. Michaela Comer is entering the ring with a maintainer. Torin Bosley is exhibiting a Sim Solution. These heifers range in age from March 1st to March 16th. I am looking for Class 42, 43, and 44 to ringside. Class 42, 43, and 44 to ringside at this time.
think a really nice, extremely close pair out here, and two different types and kinds as you really get into them. Young lady brings us one with her cool hair coat on that one. Very nice. Young man gets a little bit more sleeker one, a little bit more in her design. I think she just designed a little bit more better for me today. We talk about just shoulder to blade and how she just kind of tracks out a little bit better on a structural standpoint. He's going to win out of the pair. Congratulations to him. Young lady with a close second, though. A young lady, that one in second, that's a nice looking heifer. I like her a lot. I think she just gets a little bit more bunchier for me. When I talk about that, I saw her to stride out just a little bit more better. I say bunchy, I say just maybe shoulder to blade. She gets a little bit more shorter right there into that neck onto her stride as we ask her to go. But still, the density is there. I love her forerib. I love her middle rib also. She might get a little bit more flatter right there. When we talk about how she sets into her hooks, depends on how she ties down on a muscle standpoint also, and that tail head just kind of comes down and flatten that tail head. But I think that tail head's placement is right. I think she just gets a little bit more planar on her muscle to pattern back there and wants to close in just ever so slightly on a structural standpoint. But still love the hair coat on that one. Love the density of rib and the forerib and the middle rib in her also. I like her design over the top of her blade and how she sits into her loin. A young man, like I said, just has a little bit more fancy one. I think that one's really good and constructed over her loin. She has some power and shape of muscle also. Yeah, we need to contain that tail head just a little bit, flatten it out just a tad bit right there on that, I'd say on that skeletal system, but still like the front and one third of her. I love her neck and how she ties into her pole to her jaw, and she gives you such a presence and such a look also. Very, very nice. Maybe gets a little more upright into that brisket area. We want to just kind of push that one back just a tad bit, but still a super good dense one, a super nice one through the middle portion of that rib. Congratulations to that class. Young man will be your champion out of this pair.
We'd like to congratulate Torrin Bosley with his first place in that class, and second to Michaela Comer. Into the ring at this time, we have a single entry. Class 42, Madison Matthias is exhibiting a white park with a birth date of February 26th.
Young lady brings us a single entry, a white park. Got to evaluate some of those down in Texas. Got a few breeders down there also where I live. So I get to see these ones quite a bit at shows, but a really nice one. And, you know, this breed is known for being dual purpose on just milk and meat and quality also. And so that's the neat thing about this breed. You can put them in a lot of different aspects also. But a young lady brings us this heifer, and I like her. I think she's really good, dense in her full rib into her middle rib also. And she patterns out and she balances out really well. Maybe gets just a little bit more lighter, like I said, like on the bone and on the feature of muscle down the lower portion of her body gets a little bit more thinner, but still over the top she's got some power and shape over that, I'd say right there on top of that rib cage, and how she just ties in super good. She gives you a good look from the front, one third of her body, maybe pushes shoulder just ever so slightly, but then this breed's kind of known for their muscle ability also, but still really, really nice. I like how she ties into her brisket area and just kind of comes up and swoops up into that neck, and how she ties into her head to her pole. A very nice one, a good dense one, like I said, in the middle portion of that rib. Thank you, young lady. A very nice one.
Congratulations to Madison Matthias on her first place win in Class 42. Entering the ring at this time, we have a single entry. Exhibitor is Colt Henley with a Kia Heifer, birth date 1/17/25. We're looking for class 44 to be ringside. Class 44 ringside. And if you had a first or second in our AOB division, you all can start making your way ringside too.
Really nice. So young man brings a single entry on the key divisions, and we got a few of these that we crossbreed at home with our American cows, and I think they're a good breed to composite with and make some good club calves out of, make good heifers, whatever you want to do with this type of breed, because I like it a lot, and they're very versatile. But he brings us a good one for the breed also. No doubt if you know what a good heifer looks like, you can see that this one is just really where she needs to be on end to end from nose to tail. But just a very good one, and she's deep-hearted. She comes in and she just ties into the middle portion of that body, and you want to talk about a very nice, good, dense one. You got one right there, but her lines are right. We read her good over the line. She's got some strength of loin and how she ties into her muscle to pattern. You know, she's very loose and free on her structural. Also, like I said, as you think she gets in a little bit more into that structural system, I think she's about right there where she needs to be, but muscle the pattern on the front, back 1/3 of her body, and she's still got really good feminine characteristics and clean right there. We talk about, I'd say brisket to pole also. Gives you a really nice, good, sleek look. Very good one.
Results of class 43. First place was awarded to Colt Henley. Entering the ring at this time, we have two exhibitors. Jacob Frock with a Simmental and McKenna Henley with a Sim Solution. Birth dates range from October 19th to October 29th. Okay, I'm gonna have to call a few of you out. I've been told I have to do it. So here we go. Gabe Zepp with your truck and trailer. Ann Costa. Mike Hanolman. Natalia Klunk. And Jen Brothers. You all need to move your vehicles from the therapeutic arena. We have a superintendent who's getting very antsy because he needs to be able to get his exhibitors for the Wild West show in. Again, please move your truck, trailers, and cars.
Really nice, a pair out here, a Simmental and Simmental Plus, and that's what we kind of call them in Texas, but they're really good ones. And no doubt, there's kind of different types and kinds on their maturity pattern. And we talk about the Simmental breed. I mean, Andy, we were talking earlier about, we're showing the red and white ones with the Flex B in them, and that's what we did. I did as a kid. We had a herd of our own and had some bulls and sold some bulls and things like that when I was younger, and got to learn a lot about the Simmental breed and Simbrall breed. But I'll tell you one thing, these are really nice, good-looking heifers. You can do a lot of different types and kinds with them in their pattern and the maturity pattern also. The one that just has a little bit more extras, a little bit more wide, a little bit more bolder, the young lady will win out of this pair. That's a nice heifer. She gets that one set up, gets that one on point and cue, and just that one just doesn't disappoint you from a standpoint of being really good in the rib, and how that one just ties into that full rib also. Like her out of her loin, and how she just kind of goes and transitions down and balances into that hip, into that muscle, into that pattern. She's got some bone, she's got some structure to go along with her look also. But we talk about her look, just love the top of her neck and how she just ties in into that head, into her pole, all the way down to her nose. We dive down to the front 1/3 of her body. She comes up maybe just a tad bit thicker right there into that brisket area if you want to talk about that on her. But other than that, I think she's really nice. She's good in her shoulder and her blade, and how she's sectioned into that structural system. Very, very good one, young lady. Very dense one, like her a lot. One man comes in with a second, and then really good one. I love the full rib and the middle rib, and that one just gets a little bit more higher flanked on me. I think we just need a little bit more product over the top of that skeleton also, just give that a little bit more power and shape, but still the dimension is there on the balance standpoint of that hip and how that one ties into muscle and pattern. Got some nice bone, foot and bone work to go along with that one, but boy, just good and sleek over that neck and to that, and how she just ties down to that blade, and how she sets down maybe a little bit more neater in that brisket area. But still a really nice, good, close pair. Two different types and kinds, but very good on quality. Let's give them a good round of applause. Nice pair. Congratulations, exhibitors.
Results of Class 44. First was awarded to McKenna Henley and second to Jacob Frock. We are now going to bring our heifers in the ring and select your champion and reserve champion AOB. Starting this lineup, we have Alyssa Spielman exhibiting a Simmental. This heifer's birthday is May 2nd, 25. Next in the ring, we have Libby Green exhibiting a maintainer. This heifer was born April 15th, 25. Torrin Bosley follows in the ring. His Sim Solution heifer was born March 1st, 25. Madison Matthias enters with a White Park with a birthday of February 26, 2025. Colt Henley enters with a Kiania. This heifer's birthday was a 1/17/2025. And finally, McKenna Henley enters with a Sim Solution with a birth date of October 19th, 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for all other breed champion.
when we get out here for the champion drive. Congratulations, exhibitors. I know some of those were really close in pairs in some of those classes, and we had 3 or 4 in some classes, so you had to kind of defend that and win those classes to get out here. So that's good. I think we got a really good lineup out here. I think we got different types and kinds. Young lady brought us that really nice one, that sleek design one, really cool. Like I said, just really neat. I like the balance in her hip and how she just ties in. Like I said, maybe it's a little more closer on a structural standpoint. From the back 1/3 of her body is very relaxed. That passion ever so slight. Young lady right here too. This is super good one, a super dense one. Just got to keep on working with that one and getting that one just really neat over that loin, and just the ties into muscle. Tighter, maybe just loses just a little bit right there from the back 1/3, but still an excellent one. The paint right here, boy, just talked about her being super thin and super good, bold into her forward in the middle portion of her rib. Gives you such a good, nice, sleek look. A young lady too with the white face, just a really good one. And like I said, that's a dual-purpose breed also, but still, it's got some shape, got some volume over that middle portion of the body and that forward also. It gets a little bit more chunkier upright right there. We talk about blade to shape, but still a nice one to represent that white part. A young man, comes in with the key. Just a super good one. Talk about that one just being balanced overall from head to toe. Just gives you such a good look, such a pleasant look. But still has her right on field condition also. We talk about mid-rib, we talk about forward and that one all day, but the sleekness of the design. Young lady just won that last class in that mature class. A super good one, Yeah, it doesn't have just that hair on her right now, but I'll tell you one thing. You can tell her build is so good. She's so neat. She's so cool over her design, over her hip and how she ties in. Got big feet, bone, and legs to match that good structure also with her. Very, very nice. Still think that one's cool from the front 1/3 of the blade and how she just sets the pattern and how she goes along the shoulder. Very nice one, young lady. Well, it's a really close call out. I thought there was some really good ones. Like I said, some had to beat some good ones out of those classes also. The one I like, the best for today is going to be the key right here. Congratulations to the young man.
Good job, man. Nice effort. Go ahead and move her up.
Thought it gets really close out here. I really like this young heifer on the end and young heifer down there. And I think they're kind of different types and maybe one of them just has a little bit more femininity. One of them just has a little bit more power and shape into that loin, into that muscle pattern also. I think a really nice, good, close call. I think it kind of just comes down which one just has that kind of that maternal look. And I think both of them do. And they said which one of them has a little bit more power and shape. I say, well, both of them do. Which one maybe just a little bit more sleeker and shoulder and how that head ties in. And so that's where sometimes you've got to split a show count because I think those two are very close in this lineup. I like the young lady on this end to be reserved. Congratulations.
We're now going to select our bred known class. Michaela Comer is going to come in and she's going to join Madison Matthias here in the ring. These are our 2 AOB bred and known heifers. We are looking for our commercial division heifers. I'm looking for class 48 and 49. Again, commercial heifers, class 48 and 49.
we'll get out here, the bred owned, and then really good ones on the right. I know I've talked these heifers already, but still very, very nice and very comfortable in their design, and I like how they balance out. Maybe one just has a little bit more of the extras for me today. I'd say just doing some a little bit more denser in the forward and the middle portion of the ribbon, how that one just ties into the skeletal system. Also, young lady is going to be your grand out of this bunch. Congratulations.
Good job. Good job showing today.
Congratulations to Michaela Comer with her maintainer. She will be your bred and owned champion in the AOB division, and Madison Matthias is second. We're ready to start our commercial division with our cow-calf pair. We have a single cow-calf pair. We have Cora Guyman is exhibiting. And her brother David is helping with the handful calf behind her.
Well, we bring the crossbred out here with her calf, and really nice. I always admire this, the blue roan. It's pretty cool, and especially if you can get them into those steers and get them in those AOBs, they kind of turn out really nice. But young lady said that calf's about a month old, and it's showing its age. You know, you have a little adolescent right there. But she's done her job, you know, and you read her, you know, on her lines that she's really good, and it looked like the young lady probably showed her while she was bred also, and then how she just ties into her hips, and yeah, she's getting a little bit more lighter right there into her muscle as we study that tail head and that muscle pattern down the lower portion of her body. But of course, she's got a product back there, you know, that's nursing, and so there ain't nothing wrong with that. It's going to take a little bit more condition out of her, but still, we want a belly. We want that belly to swoop down, and we want to make sure that we got something in that belly for that calf so she can make that milk for that calf. And it looks like she's doing a really good job on that also, but really nice, and she's good and sleek in her design into her neck and how she ties into her shoulder and her brisket area. She doesn't overwhelm you with power and shape right there to the front 1/3, but she contains that good femininity, and I like about that. We study or teach, you know, the front ones looks like that guy kind of pulls on them more, and so they're just a little bit more longer. It gets a little bit more upright in the fore udder of that udder, but still, I like the udder fore. I like those teats. They're good. They're centrally located. She's got some udder cleft, and so we know that she's got some milk in there as we read her udder cleft to be balanced and be a little bit more higher and tighter. I like that in that cow. So, boy, just a really good milking system to go along with a very nice young-looking calf. That calf's really nice, too. And we just talk about balance in our babies, and I think that's very, very important. You know, sometimes you can't read muscle on them, but you can read the look. Yeah, he gets that neck up, pointed up like that. That one's got some extension of neck to shoulder to blade also, and how just that one ties into the hip. And those are main features that we want on our babies so we can move forward on the progression of the growth on those also, especially if we want to put them in a show aspect. They got to have that look, and I think that one has a really nice, good look, and then balances out, like I said, just on a muscle standpoint also. also for being only a month and a week old. I think the young lady said, let's give them a good round of applause. That's a nice pair.
Results of our commercial cow-calf class. First in champion cow-calf commercial went to Cora Guyman. Give them just a second and we're going to be ready to move into our commercial heifer class 49. We'll have 3 entries: Cora Guyman, Jenna Stamball, and Lloyd Arbaugh. Heifers are ranging in age from January 7th to February 6th. This class will determine your champion and reserve champion commercial heifer. Again, this class will determine your champion and reserve champion commercial heifer. For those of you who had breed champions, we are very close to calling you. We will start with our grand cow-calf pair. So we're looking for Avery Becker and Cora Guyman, and then we'll move into our grand champion heifer drive.
Well, Carroll, I give them an F on the report card for their behavior. They just aren't acting right for the exhibitors. But still really nice. And I think you got 3 different types and kinds and pairs out here, and you can pair maybe 2 of them up. They kind of have some similarities and differences also. But a really good set of commercial cows out here, and I think you can do a lot of different things with them on the aspect of breeding and making good show heifers or making good commercial cows also. But super neat ones and super good ones. I think the one that just kind of wins it for me today, that one just has some good rib and good cage into it. I wish I had a little bit more flank though, and a little bit more style in that flank in the middle portion of the body. The young man with the paint right here in the middle is going to win. Congratulations to him. I like that heifer. She's just big boned. She's big structured, but she's really good into her hip and how she ties into her tail and how she just sets down into her tail head also. She's got some feminine good characteristics from the front 1/3 of her body also. Like I said, we just got to get her a little bit more fuller in her forerib into the middle portion of her rib also, and just kind of give her a little bit more power right there behind blade and set the middle portion of her body. But boy, appreciate that big old foot bone that she brings to the table. Those kind of giving him a fight right there on the lead. But boy, I know she's got some good structure along with those big feet also. I like that one a lot. Young lady's going to be second with more of the denser one, the black one. I like that heifer. You know, she's real good and feminine and sleek in her position. I think, you know, everybody just talk about a muscle standpoint from the back 1/3 of her body. We got to power up ever so slightly. She wants to kind of come in just a tad bit on a structural standpoint from those back legs and wants to roll just ever so slightly. I like to fix that about her, but she's good, she's dense, she matches what she is on her style and her size, and so that's what I always tell kids, you know, as long as those heifers can match that style and their size, and she looks really good. Like I said, just planes out a little bit back there from the back 1/3 of her body on a muscle standpoint, but still like the feminine characteristics over the top of her crest of her neck and how she ties into her shoulder and blade also gives you such a really nice look. Young lady's going to round out with the red calf right here for third, but super good one. She just gets too upright in her shoulder to blade. She gets too close right there into her neck. We got to give her a little bit more extension. On a structural standpoint, she wants to just kind of go down on those hooves. I got to just give her a little bit more strength to that pastern right there to move her up into the class, but still appreciate the depth of body, the rib that she has into her, and she's levels out really good. Looks like she fed really good. She just gets a little bit more tighter into her structure. Like I said, shoulder to blade. I'd like to give her a little bit more feminine look right there from the front 1/3 of her body, but still a really nice one. She's got some power in hip right there in the shape of that hip, but she just kind of flattens out onto her muscle pattern. I'd like to give her just a touch more muscle to the lower portion of that twist also, but a nice one to round out this class for third. Let's give these good exhibitors a round of applause in this commercial class.
Congratulations on our commercial set of heifers. First and champion commercial heifer was exhibited by Lloyd Arball. Second and reserve heifer was exhibited by Jenna Stamball, and third by Cora Guyman. We would like to announce that Cora is receiving your champion bred and owned commercial honors. We are now going to select our grand champion cow, our grand champion cow calf. We have two, I believe it was a shorthorn cow calf pair exhibited by Avery Becker, and a commercial cow calf pair exhibited by Cora Guyman.
One?
Just
Okay.
one. And then for heifers, we're going to do a top 5, it looks like. And then
For all the champions?
yeah, we'll bring all our breed champions back and we'll pick 5.
Okay.
And then at the very end, we'll pick up one grand champion bred known.
Okay.
So we got a grand cow, we got 5 heifers, and a grand bred known.
After this, I'm going to take me a break and go to the restroom real quick. Is that fine?
Yeah,
Before
do
the
you-
champion drive?
Before the champion
Yeah, I'm
drive?
going to take
All
a
right,
restroom
no,
break.
that'll be no
give
problem.
Give them time to get them in line
Yep,
and
no
stuff.
worries, no worries.
Entering the ring at this time is Haley Becker. Sorry, Haley. Entering the ring at this time is your champion shorthorn cow-calf pair exhibited by Haley Becker. And your champion cow-calf pair from our commercial breed exhibited by Cora Guyman. And we are going to select one grand champion cow-calf pair. Mr. David Zepp, we are going to take a 5-minute break at the conclusion of this selection. Our judge needs a few minutes break. Thank you.
Well, we get out here to the pairs, and I talk to them in class and talk that Shorthorn, just really good on condition of where she needs to be. She's not over conditioned. She's right on her condition, especially with that calf and how big that calf is, and still, nursing it, but her condition is on point. You did a good job of getting that one fed and getting that one right, young lady. I like her. I like her lines. I like how she balances out. Really good. We talk about that udder quality and how those teats are good. They're centrally located. Not a very big bag, but that one's so big and it's tight and kind, that calf, and so yeah, it's sucking her down a little bit, but she still has a levelness of that udder floor and got some udder cleft back there to go along with that udder, and so she's producing and she's making milk for that baby, and she's doing her job. And we talk about that baby just being such a good elite one right there, just being so young, and the lines on that one are there, and the muscle will come and the pattern will come, but still very good start to that one. I love how that heifer calf just balances out. I'm pretty sure she'll be in a show ring somewhere. Very, very nice. Talk about the blue back here, about her udder and her cleft, and yeah, a little bit more longer teats right there into the front, but still she's got some good cleft. She's got some balance of udder, and I like that about that one. And of course, that calf is only 1 month old, so sure enough, that one's going to be nursing pretty heavily on that mama, but still her condition's good. She just gets a little bit more flatter until her muscle a little bit more plainer right there, but that's excusable because she's got a nice looking calf right there on the backside of her, taking some product out of her, but still that's a good calf. That one balances out super well. That one gives you such a really good look. Love the hip in that little guy also for being a young one. Very nice, good looking pair. I like the Shorthorn to win out of the pair to be your grand. Congratulations, and the blue calf will be reserved on the commercial end.
Good job. Nice cow. Good job, young lady, showing that. Good job. You bet.
We would like to take this opportunity to congratulate Haley Becker for exhibiting our grand champion cow-calf pair at the 2026 Carroll County Fair. At the conclusion of our show, we will be doing backdrop pictures. We are going to take about a 5-minute break, and then we will be back here to select our grand and reserve and our top 5 heifers for the Carroll County 4-H and FFA Fair. We are going to go ahead and start our Grand Champion Heifer Parade. We're going to start with our Angus female.
Wasn't the biggest show in the world, but your top end is a pretty nice top end. We got kids in this town and in Maryland specifically. We got a lot of kids running around so we're pretty. You think Maryland's small, and then all of a sudden you see some of these quality, and then they have them in and out in the children. So, yep.
Whenever you're ready, Mikey. I'm waiting on you. Here we go. Your champion Angus heifer was exhibited by Georgiana Condon. This heifer was born April 5th. Your champion Hereford heifer is exhibited by Boyd Bechtel and is a January 8th. Your red Angus heifer is exhibited by Lexi Zepp. She's a March 6th. Your champion Shorthorn heifer was born January 2nd and is being exhibited by Emma Harrison. Your champion Shorthorn Plus heifer is exhibited by Michaela Comer and was born March 18th. Followed by your champion AOB, and that's being exhibited by Colt Henley. And Colt's exhibiting a key and knee. Do we have our commercial? Lloyd, if you're in the building, we could use your commercial heifer here in the show ring. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and congratulate all our breed champions today. We are going to pick a top 5.
You're bringing your seconds in, right? Because we're going to top 5.
Please get your reserve breed champions on hand. Lloyd Arball, we are picking the top 5. We could use your heifer in the show ring. Reserve heifers, be on standby. We're picking a top 5. If you had bred and owned, we will finish our show with that today.
Well, we get out to the lineup, and I always tell parents and advisors or whoever helps the kiddos, county agents, that this is where you want to be, no doubt. You represent your breed, you won your class, you won your breed, and we're Grand Old Reserve. But I'll tell you, this lineup is good breed champions, and I think they represent a good quality. I'm not going to talk every one of them, but you kind of see what I see in these animals. Got some that they've got some maturity on them, and there's nothing wrong with that. And some that are a little bit more smaller and they're type and kind, but I think these cattle are the ones that I kind of gravitate to. They've got some feel. I talk about that a lot in our show cattle because we want them to look like show cattle. We don't have a class of all commercial cows out here that are non-registrable, and so we have to make sure that they look the part of their breed. They have good characteristics of show cattle also, and so I think these do. They combine that elegant look to the front 1/3 of their body, and we talk about how these things just tie together in their shoulder and blade. I talk a lot about that. I talk about a lot about head carriage. I talk about a lot of neck and pole to face because we want to have that real good, cool, feminine face also. If they're on the mature level, we want to make sure that they have that build of that forerib and that middle rib and how they tie into their loin and how they set until their tail set, because I think that's very important, how tail sets into the skeletal system, because it gives them such a good look, a prestige look also. It gives them that show cattle look. And so, boy, I look down the line and I like them a lot. And like I said, represent breeds very well. Some of them had to beat some good ones to come out here into this drive also. But really neat ones and elegant ones also in their design. And I like designed heifers over their hips and the middle portion of their body, and hope everything just balances out from the bottom 1/3. And then we put the structure in there also. So there's a lot of key ingredients into show heifers. And I think all these ones possess some of those really good key things that we look at on an evaluation standpoint as a judge. And so thank y'all again for having me. A good quality show. A lot of good kiddos out there. I know some of these heifers were kind of unruly, wanting to fight the kids sometimes, but they hung in there and they knew what they needed to do. And I don't take away from that. We're not judging any showmanship out here. We're judging cattle today, and that's what I see in some of these cattle. Yeah, they were a little bit more unruly with their owner, but still these kiddos hung in there and they got them shown and they got some good looks on them. And that means a lot to a judge. Just keep on hanging in there and don't give up when they don't want to act right, because of course these animals, they don't have a manual owner like a brand new vehicle when we buy one or use one, and so sometimes they just come in here with a little bit different attitudes. But hey, let's give them a good round of applause. Thank y'all again for having me. Andy's been awesome on the phone. We've talked a lot. I finally got to meet him today. He went down and judged in Texas in the 90s. Not saying how old he is, but I'll tell you one thing, that's awesome to go down there and hit a few of those major stock shows, because they're very competitive stock shows. So he knows what kind of judge he wanted, and he gave me a call. I got a good reference from a buddy of mine, and here I am. I want to thank y'all again for having me. Like I said, I'm in the industry. I breed cattle. We AI. We have a great program at our home with AI cattle, and so I'm in there every day. And so I got phone calls. 3 of ours didn't get set and settled with semen, and say, hey, it's tough, but that's agriculture, and these kids are all agriculturalists. You remember that because you're a part of it, whether you're showing on the animal or on the leadership aspect, or you got a farm, you got a grow crops, you got whatever you're doing out on horticulture, flowers, or whatever. You're all a part of agriculture. But hey, thank y'all again, and God bless, and thanking y'all allowing me to sort these animals very good quality. I'm gonna go out and pick your champion. Thank y'all again. Let's make some noise for these kids. Let's give them a good round of applause.
We'd like to congratulate Colt Henley. He's just been named your grand champion heifer. Alyssa Spielman is entering the ring with her Semitol, who stood reserve in that division.
Get her in the lineup and she doesn't disappoint. Also, she fits that mold really good of just what I talked about, of being super good and super feminine, and how we read her on how she ties into her hip. I like how that heifer ties into her hip. I like how she balances out really well in her design. The young lady does such a present on showmanship also, and gets that one head elevated from point to shoulder and gives you such a good look from the front 1/3 about it. But she knows she's good. She's got a really good long neck, and she uses it for the advantage of that heifer also. Super good, super cool, super neat. Gets in the lineup, like I said, very healthily. But I'll tell you, there's another one that I like that. I love the design. I love how that one was made. I love the build of that one also. The young lady here on the end is going to be reserved. Congratulations. What's your Angus?
Exhibitors, please stay where you are. We are picking a top 5. Congratulations to Georgiana Condon. She's your reserve champion heifer. I'm looking for Avery Becker to return to the ring with her reserve champion Angus.
As we get down to the top 3, and that's awesome that you go all the way down to 5, and I like that. It gives the kids their own kind of where they stood that day and how they did in the overall, and that's neat that you do that. We started doing that quite a bit now in Texas also a few years ago, and so it's pretty neat, and I like that, and so it gives the kid some more chances to move up. There's another one I thought, just love the spring and rib in this one, and how that one was still fresh, and that one's good, and that one's been fighting this young man. It's going to be your Heifer. It's going to be 3rd overall. Congratulations.
We've been giving you a trip, huh?
Congratulations, your 3rd overall heifer came from your Hereford division and was exhibited by Boyd Bechtel. I believe that Lucy Flynn stood 2nd to the champion, and she is entering the ring at this time with her Hereford heifer.
And I talk about good and feminine, and there's another heifer that catches my eye, and we've had a really good program, a good run in Belleville with our livestock judging team, and We've gone to Louisville with the dairy, and we've gone to 2 or 3 times. We've won state here lately, and we went to Ireland. It was a national champion team in Ireland, and so that means a lot to us at the international show also. But we train our kids, and we're always saying, like, if there's good ones and they keep catching your eye, and you like them for a reason, and if you come back to them and your eye keeps coming back to them, that means they're pretty good. There's something you like about them. Super good, super feminine. The young lady right here in front of me is going to be next. Congratulations with the Red Angus.
Congratulations, Lexi Zepp was named your 4th overall heifer, and she came out of the Red Angus category. We're looking for Sadie Frock with her reserve Red Angus, and she is on her way. Attention bred and owned division champions. Please start making your way ringside. Bred and owned division champions, please make your way ringside. We will be selecting the bred and owned champion at the conclusion of this class.
Bring that one out there. Very, very nice and good competitive heifer also that stands in that red Angus, and good representation of the breed also. Very nice, good characteristics. Liked her a lot. Thought she was really good in her loin, and how she went down and hit a really big rib cage for her size and her style also. There's another one I like. That one came out, and boy, just keeps on catching my eye. I love that one, how the build of that one is through the middle portion of its body, but how that one just levels out on the design of that loin. It's going to be your Heifer. It'll be next. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Lucy Flynn. So, in conclusion, your grand champion heifer was exhibited by Colt Henley and came from your AOB division. From your Angus division, your reserve grand was shown by Georgiana Condon. Your 3rd overall is your Hereford heifer, exhibited by Boyd Bechtel. Lexi Zepp with her Red Angus was 4th overall, and to finish out our top 5 was Lucy Flynn with her Hereford heifer. We are now going to select your grand champion bred and owned heifers. We'll give our heifers just a chance here to exit the show ring. I believe from looking at the signs, we're going to have to switch a couple heifers around, so we're going to give them just a second to do that. Immediately following the selection of your grand champion bred and owned heifer, we will be taking pictures at the backdrop. I believe Kelsey Zepp is on the camera today, and she will be there to take some of your pictures at the backdrop. So as soon as we're done here, meet Kelsey and Judge Ditzel at the backdrop, and we will take some pictures. While we're waiting for our lineup here, I'm going to go ahead and announce our judge again. I had to cut it short. Judge Jacob Ditzel is an agriculture science teacher from Belleville, Texas. He has been teaching and serving as an ag advisor for 26 years at Belleville High School. He graduated from Royal High, attended Clarendon Junior College, where he was a competitive livestock judge. He went on to Blinn College, where he finished his associate's degree in science. He graduated from Texas A&M University with a bachelor's degree in agriculture, development, and education. He's received many awards in education and was honored to be Citizen of the Year in Belleville, Texas. He grew up raising and showing cattle and many other livestock species at a young age and believes in the agriculture industry for how it educates the youth. He has been blessed to have judged many market steer, breeding heifers, swine, sheep, poultry, and breeding shows throughout the state of Texas. Judge Dietz truly enjoys being able to help his students with their projects, training teams, and assisting them in any way possible. He helps students to be successful and believes in achieving goals. He resides in Belleville, Texas with his family, Wendy, wife of 25 years, and 3 children, Brody, who attends Blinn College and College Station. Briley is a sophomore at Belleville High School. She shows livestock and plays volleyball. And Brooke attends Texas A&M University and is majoring agriculture economics. His family has been showing livestock for over 30 years in market and breeding shows all across the state of Texas. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together and thank Judge Bitzel for being here with us today. Your champion bred and owned Angus heifer is being exhibited by Lexi Zepp. Your champion bred and owned Hereford is being exhibited by Lucy Flynn. Your champion bred and owned Red Angus is being exhibited by Sadie Frock. From your Shorthorn division, your bred and owned heifer is being exhibited by Lorelei Barnett. From your Shorthorn Plus division, we have Michaela Comer. Your AOB division is being represented by Michaela Comer. And from your commercial division is Cora Guyman. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together and congratulate all our bred and owned exhibitors. To be a bred and owned champion, to be standing in this ring, this is literally a project that has taken years for these young people to get here. Each of these young people own the mama cows that these heifers came from. They made breeding decisions. They supported them during gestation and have been there since birth, raising these heifers to get a chance to stand in this show ring.
Get in this division, and it's like the young lady said, that's awesome that they come out and they have to raise these calves and they probably show their moms, and so that's neat, and it's a good thing that learning, and that's the main thing, learning and education. I always tell kids you can't get enough of it, and of course we have to make sure we have the right feed programs, the right program of how we bred them, and then to bring them back and want to show them, and so that's neat. You learn a lot of different things on those aspects of just a good education and educating yourself, and so just remember that. But these are awesome. I've talked to all these heifers, and it's really neat, and this really good ones, and there's really nice ones out here, and they're all, look at them, they've all been really fed really well. They balance out into their carcass system and their loins, and how they come into muscle, the pattern on the back of their legs. Yeah, maybe got to be a little critical on a little bit of structure maybe, or maybe just need a little bit more fill, or maybe just a little bit more muscle texture back there on some of them that I set into their classes. But as you look at them from the side and a profile, they're really nice, and they're neat, and they're good and constructed. And they all really have really nice and good looking pieces also. Like I said, I've taught them all in class a few times in the division champions or breed champions, but still very, very good ones. And kiddos and parents, be proud of yourself that you raised the product. You get to come out to your county fair, which is awesome, and you get to show them and exhibit them. That's what it's all about. That's what ag's about. And so, and you're a part of it right now. And so very, very nice and very pleasant exhibitors also out here. The one that I just fell, my eyes fall on all the time and said, man, that one's just such a good one, and how that one's, the build of that one is extremely good. I love how dense that one is, maybe not the biggest one of the bunch, but a really nice one. And like I said, just from a balance standpoint, super cool, super neat, but from bone to structure also on that one's very, very good. It's going to be your Hereford. Congratulations. She'll be your grand overall.
We would like to congratulate Miss Lucy Flynn for exhibiting our grand champion bred and own heifer. Again, meet Kelsey and our judge by the backdrop. We're going to do some pictures. We're due back here at 4 o'clock this afternoon to start our sheep show. And we'd like to talk to you a moment about Carroll County Fair memory benches. If you are interested in honoring a special loved one or 4-H family, you can purchase a bench to be placed at the fair. Full benches with an engraved plate is $600. Half of benches with 2 small engraved plates are $300. If you're interested, please see Bobby Schmidt. She's been right behind me. Please see Bobby if you're interested in purchasing a memory bench, which will be on display here at the fair. Thank you.